Happy Haute Couture Week to all of those who celebrate. Today we will be talking about Daniel Roseberry's genius through his recent haute couture collection for Schiaparelli for Fall and Winter 2026. Hey fashion friends, this is not what it seems, literally. We talk about fashion history, fashion theory, fashion runway shows, and Alexander McQueen's career on this channel. So if you are new here, welcome! If you have not yet seen the show in question, which is Schiaparelli, I will link it down below for you so you can watch it and then you can come back to this video, because if you haven't seen the show, we can't talk yet. You need to see it first. If you have seen the show already, I know, right? It's crazy. I am so excited to talk about this show. I am actually always eagerly waiting for the Schiaparelli show in the Haute Couture weeks, as the creative director Daniel Roseberry never disappoints. Each show he creates is exciting, fun, dramatic, like Haute Couture should be. He really loves fashion and he has fun with it. Fun fact is that he is one of the not so many left designers who sketch every single look that they design. So he is a true genius, and today we will break down his latest collection. We will speak a little bit about the venue and the models, as it is quite an important part of every show. Then we will speak about the inspiration behind the season's collection, the garments themselves. Then we will look into some details and some crazy accessories. And at the end, I will show you my favorite looks of the collection, and hopefully you can share with me yours. So let's start with the venue and the models. The Schiaparelli Haute Couture show for the Fall and Winter 2026 season was hosted in Paris in the historic Petit Palais, which is in the center of the city. Venue was very beautiful, of course. There were extremely tall ceilings and the floor of the museum was laid out with this mirror-looking surface that made an impression of a surface of deep ocean waters. There was also specific lighting engineered for this show to catch the molded silicone bustiers and the garments that had little lights inside of them, making the models look like glowing organisms emerging from the dark waters. So it was a very thought through and prepared runway situation. When it came to the models, I really loved the fact that the models walked to the beat of the music. I think it was amazing. There were some very highly anticipated models on the runway, such as Curly Claus, which I was so happy to see. I really love her walk. She is one of the top models ever. I was really happy to see her. I did not expect to see her, but I really love her specific walk with her hips. She is amazing in modeling and I'm so happy she came back, at least for this show. We also had Amelia Gray, who highlighted the collection's extreme silhouette that she was dressed in, and I really also loved her walk. The other models were also great and phenomenal, but I just wanted to mention these two as they made the biggest impression on me, and I think they made the show so much special. Now let's talk about inspiration for this season's collection. Daniel Roseberry usually follows a simple routine when getting new ideas for his collections. He really likes to go on a trip and get inspired by a new culture. This time, he decided to go to Barcelona in Spain and particularly look into Gaudi's work. If you're not familiar with him, Antoni Gaudi was a Catalan architect and engineer. He made some beautiful works during his career, and one of his most famous creations is Sagrada Familia, which I am sure you know which one this is. So Daniel Roseberry went to Spain, went to Barcelona and looked into all of the Gaudi's creations, and he came back home and then he thought, okay, let's design this collection. But not always you can control the creative process, and his plan did not really go to work this time, as he found himself in misery without any direction. Then he decided to lean into what Elsa Schiaparelli would do, as her signature surrealism was a way to reveal the unspoken and inexplicable realities. So he leaned into the unknown instead, and he embraced the state that he found himself in of the uncertainty, with no direction, with no particular one big idea to follow. And like Elsa herself strongly believed, the familiar should be made unfamiliar sometimes in order to create great things. He said, "It's really been a story of surrendering to what's happening today, surrendering to this unknown. The digital part, the hand part, it's this collision that happens in couture right now, which is really fascinating." He also wanted to highlight that AI could merge with humans and create some new creatures, and how these two worlds could collide together. So that's another inspiration for this collection. And since speaking of the unknown and the fear and perhaps the unfamiliar, he also looked into some deep ocean creatures and he got inspired by those. So as you can see, this collection is a mix of inspiration. After putting it all together, it creates a beautiful cohesive collection, and I will show you where you can find all of these inspirations in the garments. Okay, now we need to look into some garments and some details and talk about the collection itself. 30 different looks were presented at this collection's runway show. This season, the House of Schiaparelli embraced the paradox of creating made-to-measure clothing in the digital age by pairing haute couture techniques with unexpected materials such as latex and silicone, dried flowers, seashells, and even fish scales. As we already know, Daniel Roseberry wanted to do something that he himself did not fully understand. He called this collection the Call of the Void, as he said it's an emotional and creative space that is more abstract in a beautiful way. He and his team played with silicone, mirrors, latex, and prosthetics. He wanted to use color this time in a more softer way, so we see many pastels and bright colors such as bright pink and bright blue. There's also multiple black and white looks. There's some flower embroidered looks, and they are styled with some gold jewelry that we will dig into a bit later. He wanted to combine and contrast in this collection the synthetic materials with the natural ones. There are some flower embroideries that are made out of actual flowers, which is mind-blowing. The flowers were dried and preserved in some sugar water so they last longer, and then they were hand sewn into the garments. There were few garments that were made in this technique, and I think they were absolutely beautiful. Two of them actually were also inspired by Gaudi's work. So one was the Casa Bastillo and the other one was some ceilings that were also designed by Gaudi. So as you can see, these pieces had multiple different things going on and they are absolutely beautiful. Daniel Roseberry said that at this point we are all exhausted, we are being bombarded on a daily basis with multiple images and our eyes need something else. He said that he would rather ask questions and experiment rather than make statements on what people should wear or look like. He said that it's a real luxury to be in a position to ask questions and have your team follow you to the unknown, to the void, as the collection was called. As we already know, the collection evolves between texture and color. So instead of satin, velvet, the usual haute couture materials, silicone was heavily used for the first time actually for Daniel Roseberry. In such a big project, he used silicone, and some designs were also sculpted out of clay, and then the silicone was molded onto it, and then that's how some of these beautiful corsets came alive. The bodice that was inspired by Prometheus was representing the augmented version of reality, and the techniques that were developed in order to make this garment possible happened in a workshop in Paris that actually specializes in making photorealistic silicone babies for the film industry. So as you can see, Daniel Roseberry really went the long way to experiment, to ask questions, to use new materials, to go somewhere he's never been, dig deep into his ideas and some possible realities that could be made. And then he had corsets made literally out of the material from which silicone babies are made for movies. So this collection is amazing, and I think this idea was so brilliant from Daniel Roseberry and so innovative, because actually both him and his atelier never used the silicone before, and to come out with such a strong collection, never using the material before, is quite extraordinary, and I think this was one of the best collections from recent years from the house. Daniel Roseberry commented on this collection, "I love the extreme. I mean, it's couture. It can never be one-dimensional beauty here. There's always a subversion, there's always an edge, whether that's coming from animalia or the body, or this reference to silicone and latex, and that's the kind of beauty that inspires me." As Daniel mentioned, usually he's being inspired by animals and nature, so now let's look into a few garments that were inspired by that. You know how some fishes and underwater life glows in the dark in the deep ocean waters? This is the effect that this sculpted corset makes, as it has little lights installed inside, which makes it look like a live organism itself. There were a few other garments that also had mini light structures underneath, giving this glowy, futuristic look of a semi-robotic underwater creature morphing into human form. I think these corsets were absolutely amazing and elaborately made. This was one of a kind idea that Daniel Roseberry came up with to put on the runway corsets with LED lights inside of them, making the models glow from the inside, literally. I think this was such a brilliant idea and I loved it. Then we have looks number 9 and 10 that were also inspired by sea life, echoing the Elsa Schiaparelli's original 1938 circus collection veil, with the use of snake-like shapes, transforming the model and her female body into a surreal creature. I think these looks were absolutely amazing. I have no idea how the team made these stems stand like that and do not fall down. I think they are so amazing and so beautiful. And thinking that one of them is literally made out of latex, I read somewhere that the model took 20 minutes to get into this garment. So there was no way she could change into another look for this show. So yeah, 20 minutes to get into this, imagine. And then we had the last look of the collection with the corset that we already spoke about in detail. She also had a skirt that was made out of little LED lights, making the garment glow in the dark and twinkle as the model moves. I think this was also such a brilliant and innovative idea, and this is also an ode to ocean life, to sea life that glows in the dark in the deep ocean waters, and this was such a beautiful tribute and inspiration for the team. Now let's look into some details and some quite extraordinary accessories. Starting with shoes, we have heels with the distorted round back, making an impression of a dynamic, speedy limb of some sort of creature. I particularly like the middle ones from look 10, which is elongated and goes all the way up to the calf. Second set of heels was on the more elegant side, but with a twist. And then we have a spiky version of both, which were clearly inspired by underwater life. The jewelry for this collection draws also from marine life, with golden shell earrings lined with porcelain and octopus-inspired pieces. There were also some salmon-like silicone accessories designed by Daniel Roseberry, as he experimented with prolonging the ear of the model with silicone piece, which was made the same way as the molded corsets were, from the silicone baby's material. There were some earpieces made like that, then we also had some belly button accessory, and there was one that was attached to the model's back. Does this shape remind you of something? I will leave this one for your own interpretation. Now I would like to show you a few of my favorite looks from this collection, and hopefully you can share with me yours and tell me why. Starting with look number 19, which was inspired by Gaudi and which is embroidered with real flowers that were preserved in sugar water. For me, this idea is absolutely insane and I loved it. I love the fact that the jacket is silicone And it looks so flowy and effortlessly made and fits the model like a glove. But to be honest, it took hours and hours and tens of people to come up with this sort of material and to mold it in this way. I think it's a masterpiece. I love the colors of the dress and the skirt, the way it becomes ombre sort of situation with the color, and then the bag was also very nice. The bag reminds me of coral reef and this like squishy sponges that are there, and I also love the little keyhole detail, which also pays a tribute to Elsa Schiaparelli. I really like these shoes. I think they are so futuristic and so insane. I love this little silicone insides here. I think it complements the jacket perfectly. And this model also wears these insane earpieces that are attached to her ears that are from this silicone baby material mold. I think this look is just insane. It's so beautiful. I love it. It is for sure my top 3. To be very honest with you, it's so hard to pick a favorite because this collection is so good, but I will pick 3, okay? My second favorite is number 12, of course, with this insane piece of corset. There is also a very subtle reference to Elsa Schiaparelli here. As you can see, it's like a little measuring tape, and this was her signature element. I love the jewelry on here. It's like beautiful golden pearl piece and the matching earrings. I love the golden belt details. I love the fact how they casually paired this insane thing that we saw before, how it was made. It was literally molded and engineered and probably took days to come up with this one piece. And they casually paired it with black suit pants because this whole piece, that's the whole look. Like, you don't need anything else. I love the fact that it glows from the inside. It really makes you feel like the model will be visible from far away even if it's dark outside. Just every single detail of it is perfect. I love how the endings of the jacket are embellished with gold. I love how they made the shoulders exaggerated and how thick this whole thing is. And the texture is so much skin-like. It is insane. I also love the fact that the jacket looks like it's being opened just casually by the wind. Just everything about it, it's so perfect. I don't think I will ever get over this look. It is fantastic. Even the breast is made so realistic and the nipples look like they are just real life. So to be honest, big applause to Daniel and his atelier team, because this is what haute couture really is about. It's about pushing the boundaries, asking questions, coming up with new things, and of course the amazing exquisite craftsmanship that you can see here. Okay, and for my final selection, I picked look number 22 for multiple different reasons. Starting with the drapery, which is absolutely insane. This looks like some Michelangelo sculpture from long time ago. This is so beautifully draped. I cannot even think where all of this material comes from, where does it start, what holds everything. Actually, I'm just thinking perhaps this is not a normal just sheer flowy material. This could actually be a thin layer of latex, but I have no way of knowing because it's really hard to tell from a picture, but this is so beautiful. I even love the way that this latex dress just casually drapes here, it's just some folds of material, and it took hours and hours to make it like that. Of course, we need to talk about this glowy top of the dress. As you know, there are some LED lights beneath and it literally glows all the way from the inside, even at the back. I'm not sure if it's gonna be visible on the pictures. It is a bit, but this thing is literally distracting me. This is so pretty. Just this drape only, for me, it's like pure haute couture. I love it. I genuinely love this piece. Yeah, as you can see from the inside of the corset, it all glows inside. I wish there was a little bit more darker ambience during the show so we could see these pieces, or if they could switch off the light just at the end of the show when the models walked out. I think that would be so cool. And of course, these super futuristic shoes are a part of this look, and I really love it. So I think this look is my top 3 for sure, if not my favorite, to be honest, because of this drapery piece here. It's gorgeous. I love the color of it. I love the shape, the silhouette, the form. Everything is just perfect about this look. My dear fashion friends, now it's your turn. Please let me know which looks did you like the most and why. I was using the Vogue Runaway website to pick my looks and to look into some details, so I recommend you go and you check that out because it's a big source of information. He said that the moments where certainty disappears are often the moments when something genuinely new becomes possible and when the best creations happen, and when you don't know what you're doing but you're asking multiple questions and you're looking for solutions, maybe from something that you would never think would be possible, and then you mold it in your own way. Like Daniel molded latex onto a corset and then made an extraordinary collection out of that. It's sort of a metaphor that whenever you have an idea or you have a faint idea and you don't know which direction to go, ask questions, experiment, try new things, and you'll be fine. You'll be just fine. And you might even succeed and make amazing collection. So if you have some doubts, it doesn't mean you need to quit. You just need to experiment, look for solutions, and ask questions. Please let me know which look was your favorite and why. Also, what did you think about the accessories and all the details? And maybe you didn't like the collection at all. Maybe you prefer the more classical Schiaparelli collections with more references to Elsa Schiaparelli and to more house codes and maybe more glamour versions of Schiaparelli. So let me know what you think. I am so happy to be here with you and talking about Schiaparelli, talking about haute couture. This is literally the best day ever. So thank you so much for watching. I will see you hopefully in my next video. Let me know your thoughts and bye!